So, with a new chapter coming out in a few days, type for that, I wanted to give my thoughts and predictions on this very hype group battle thing that is about to go on. But first, if you haven't, make sure to subscribe to this new channel, as I'm still dealing with strikes on my main channel, so I'll most likely be uploading on this channel for the coming weeks until I'm able to upload on the main channel again. And if you want to talk more about Record of Ragnarok, Shumatsu no Valkyrie, whatever you want to call it, greatness, make sure to join the Discord, link is in the description. So on the second half of chapter 33, the most recent chapter we got the setup of a group battle that is about to begin, based on the possibility that Buddha has betrayed the gods to help the humans, with that linking to the Valkyrie's ability and his ability allowing the Valkyrie's ability to harm the gods. And it's pretty much Loki's theory that the Buddha is helping them in taking out the gods, which is some type of betrayal, and wants to get revenge for the gods by taking out Buddha. This is where the big group battle began, with the arrival of the 6 lucky gods, which tend to be on the Loki's team, but I'll talk more about that later. And then Buddha's team, which involves the likes of Sasaki Kojo, the person who defeated our Poseidon in the 3rd round of the Ragnarok tournament. Absolute Chad, one of the hypest Chad moments in the whole series when he arrived in this chapter. We thought we'll never see him again after his match, and he just comes walk down, has his like chest bandage up, pulls out 2 swords and gets ready to go, I'm gonna help you out. And we also got Soji Okita, another fighter, and Izami Kondo, another fighter that's yet to fight for humanity, but they're just waiting to get their turn. 2 swordsmen as well that are stated to be strong, and I'll talk about more of them in detail as well. So when we first got introduced, or when it was just Loki and Buddha talking to each other, Loki was able to make the 7 lucky gods somewhat frightened when he implied he would kill them if they steal his prey. In turn, that was Buddha, because they came in seeing or overhearing what they were talking about. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna punish Buddha for his betrayal. And they also were shown to be the god's executioner, or they were described alongside the word executioner when they were introduced. And then they also had shown some fear when the arrival of Sasaki Kojo, as the world of this is the man who killed Poseidon like filled the air, and then we saw all their shocked face. We saw Loki enraged, and then all of them in shock, and some type of fear element brought to them. So based on that assumption, I don't think they're at the same level of the likes of Loki, Buddha, or even the pretty much Sasaki Kojo or the other human fighters. So that's something that I feel. Let me know your thoughts there in the comments. I think the 7 lucky gods are on a tier below the other fighters in the battle here. First, I'll talk about Team Loki and everything we know about each one of them. So Loki was first introduced on chapter 11. This was during the 2nd battle of the Ragnarok tournament, when Loki disguised himself as Thor, showing that he has the ability to shapeshift to get his way to Odin. And this is where Odin pretty much said to him never shapeshift into Thor in front of him, as Loki reverted back into his original form. When this was happening, he didn't show any fear from Odin, who is his uncle, and Thor being Loki's cousin. In the 3rd fight, when Kojo Sasaki killed Poseidon, he was shocked and pretty much enraged by how a human could actually kill a god. As he watched Poseidon fade into nothingness, he was no longer amused by Ragnarok and began to take the event much more seriously. This is where we saw a big change in many of the gods, and Loki is one of the major changes we got here. And then during the 4th fight, where, as we know, Jack the Ripper was able to defeat Hercules, or Heracles, however it's pronounced in the story, he was enraged alongside Zeus, who decided to take a break from the audience and angrily walked away. One of the coolest panels we've seen in the whole manga, with, you know, their aura going everywhere, showing that their aura was actually equal here. And based on everything we've seen in the story, Loki's being kind of a troll and not really scared of any of the other gods from what we've seen. So with that, you can assume he's very powerful, and as someone who is going to be fighting one of the humans eventually, he definitely will be one of the stronger gods. His anger is what led him to confront Buddha about Buddha's power, which I'll talk about when I talk about Buddha and all that stuff involving him. But confronted him and very nonchalantly challenged him to a fight and say he would get revenge. And then when the 6 lucky gods arrived, he jokingly said he would kill them if they steal his prey, with a serious face, which also made the lucky gods have some type of fear, saying he is serious and he probably would be able to kill all 6 of them, going into his strength as well. Now to talk about the 6 or 7 lucky gods, I mean. So as we know, the 7 lucky gods pretty much overheard Loki and Buddha's conversation in the garden. They heard how Buddha gave the Valkyries their Volans, the ability to, you know, kill the gods that they're giving to humans, and with alongside Buddha's power, and how Loki deduced that he was a traitor even before Ragnarok started, showing that Buddha has been planning something for a long time. After hearing the facts from the conversation, they made their appearance by singing a short tune and deciding that Buddha deserves heaven's punishment for treason. Loki stopped the 7 gods by engaging in violence against Buddha, as he pretty much intended to fight them. And when they started pretty much attacking or scolding, like yelling at Buddha Buddha pretty much spat out his thing, damaging one of them in the hand with his, the lollipop stick going through one of their hands. I'm not even gonna try pronounce many of the gods' real names, what they come up here, because you can't be bold and I'm probably gonna butcher the names, so I'm just gonna go over what they're the god of. So the first one here, god of fortune in war and battles, god of fortune in music, arts and knowledge, god of fortune in fishing and trade, god of fortune in cooking, farming and banking, god of fortune in longevity, god of fortune in wealth and happiness, and the final one is god of fortune in business and plenitude. So that makes up the 7 lucky gods, making up the total of Team Loki. Now I'll talk about Team Buddha. So Buddha was a god chosen to fight in a future match in the Ragnarok tournament, showing that he's probably one of the higher and strongest amongst the gods. And then when he was confronted by Loki about his being a traitor and how Loki wanted revenge and pretty much worked out Buddha, he just didn't really give a fuck about Zion. He's like, oh yeah, Buddha, best ego out there, didn't give a fuck, just, a Chad status all around. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sure. And he's like, okay, I'll fight. And then the 7 lucky gods came up to him and then he's, just spits out his lollipop at him, talks shit about heaven for a little bit, and then pretty much lollipop stick goes through one of the arms, blood goes everywhere, he's talking shit and then gets ready to fight. And it's also good to mention that when he got serious, his eye kind of changed a bit. It got like a new pupil or iris, or both of them really, just the change there. That was something I noticed, and that's pretty much all we really know about Buddha. And that he has some mysterious power that's able to give the Valkyries the ability to harm God, which we don't really know much about. The next member is Kojiro Sasaki, a famous swordsman from Japan, known as history's greatest loser, with him getting the dub in the 3rd round, the first dub for humanity's side in the Ragnarok tournament, by killing and defeating Poseidon, being pretty much the person who was defeated and killed by the hands of Musashi Miyamoto in his real life at the age of 26, and then during his afterlife he was training still and became enlightened and became the supreme swordsman, or with like godlike reflexes, godlike swordmanship, hand of the god, everything, this immense Chadness, not being history's greatest loser anymore, getting that sweet dove and being an absolute Chad. Up next we have Tsuji Okita, who was a captain of the 1st unit of a special police force in Kyoto during the late Shogun period. He's one of the best swordsmen in that time frame and could be considered the best swordsman at that time frame. So another swordsman from Japan that we get to see fight, which is absolute hype. With him being introduced in chapter 30 in a private room alongside Isami, the other member, who pretty much after Jack the Ripper's match ended, he comments that being selected for Ragnarok is an honor and only strong man was selected. Sudi barely holds his excitement and wants his turn to come already. He's excited to fight, showing he is quite powerful, and after seeing the fight that Jack the Ripper and Hercules had, he's not really scared, he's just excited to fight, which goes into his strength and his pride and what he thinks he's capable of. He's also shown to have a very energetic attitude, which is very cool. In the real life Okita Tsuji from like the 1800s, was the captain of the 1st police unit and was considered one of the strongest or one of the best, if not the best swordsman of that time period, which is something interesting to note. And then the other member of Team Buddha is Izami Kondo, who was a commander of the same police force, and they're both said to be the best swordsmen at that time period, which is very good to note. So we have 3 swordsmen for Team Buddha alongside the god Buddha, and we have 7 lucky gods and plus Loki, that's 8 versus 4. Now to go over how I think the fight will most likely take place. So my 100% opinion, I don't want this to happen, but my 100% opinion is that the fight will only get start a little bit and then it will be stopped. Maybe some other gods will come in, maybe some other humans will come in and break up the fights. So maybe, you know, Zeus will come in and, you know, put out his old man Chad energy everywhere and get everyone to stop fighting. But I hope that isn't the case. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I just have a feeling the fight will be broken up pretty early and it won't go like long lasting where they fight to the death or something like that. But if they were to fight, I think Loki and Buddha will be in like a 1v1 thing, and then the 3 other swordsmen from Buddha's team will be facing the 7 lucky gods, and this is how the fight will take place. I believe Buddha is shown to be quite strong alongside Loki as well, who will be quite strong, so they'll be pretty much drawing for most of the fight, like back and forth. No one will be really getting an advantage there, while the 3 swordsmen, the 3 candidates who have been fighting for humanity, 2 are going to be fighting soon in the coming rounds, and 1 already has defeated the god, will most likely deal with the other 7 gods and probably defeat them with relative ease. They may get a few injuries, but I think they'll be able to handle the 7 lucky gods quite easily and defeat them. And then as they're going out to help Buddha may get them to stop, or they may actually end up helping him, and this is where maybe the fight will get stopped some other gods, or will, you know, go cut to the arena where the sumo wrestler is fighting Shiva and something major happened that leads them to stop. But I think they'll stop after that. I don't think it will continue from there, but that's my opinion of what I think will most likely happen. And if the fight actually does get to take place, if it isn't stopped near the start by other gods or anything outside that, whatever happened, if something else happens and they do actually continue to fight and the fight does go on, I think it will happen, be like cut forward from the Shiva and Sumo Dude Ragnarok fight to this fight in between the next like 5 or 6 chapters. It'll just be cutting between the 2 fights, which will be absolute hype. But even if it doesn't, if it's so like one fight at a time, like one chapter that fight, that would be very interesting. But I have the idea it's going to be cutting between the 2 fights a lot, which would be very interesting. And this fight has actually, like, you know, expanded the story a bit. At first it was more this, you know, linear fight going fight from fight, but now there's other battles outside of the Ragnarok tournament, which is interesting to think about and very cool. And with 2 of them being future fighters, we finally get to see what they're truly capable of. But I don't really think we'll get much insight to their full power, as I don't think the 7 lucky gods are going to be that strong compared to them. So that's it for my prediction and my video talking about this 2 hyped group battle that is coming up in the coming chapter, most likely. If you want me to review the next chapter in the same way that I do my Kengan and Mega chapter reviews, make sure to let me know down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts of this battle. Who do you think is going to win? How do you think it's going to play out? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, join the Discord, and that's it, guys. Peace.